Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'll be teaching you how to sew a Bubu dress with a joggers rope as the design. So if this is something you're interested in, please like, comment, share, and let's get started. Welcome back guys. So this is the material we'll be needing. So this is my material. This material is called a shirt fabric. It is very thick and I used about 2 yards of it. And this is my joggers rope. So I'll be using about 10 to 12 yards depending on how full you want the design to be and depending on the length of your gown. So this is the bubu. So I'll be measuring the bubu at this area. So the line you saw earlier was the length. So you measure your shoulder by this point, then you measure your sleeve opening. Before you measure your sleeve opening, just do your shoulder slope at this point. Just do your shoulder slope at this point. Then after then you measure your sleeve opening. Then you add the sewing allowance to the sleeve opening. That is the joining allowance at the shoulder and the joining allowance by the side. So after that, you go ahead to measure your bust length, your half length rather. You measure your half length at this area, then you measure your hip length. You measure your hip length too. So at this half length area, you measure your waist. You can measure your hip measurement divided by 4 plus the ease allowance and the sewing allowance. You know it is a boo so it has to be free. So that is what I measured here. Your hip measurement divided by 4, your ease allowance of like 2 to 3 inches, then your sewing allowance of 1 inches. So you measure like this, then you connect this way just to connect these points together like this. So after that, whatsoever you have, you just mark it downward. So I just want to take like 1 inch away at this point. That's why I'm just ruling this, but you can just ignore this part and just make your poo straight like that. Oh, so the next thing is to measure the same thing you have here. So you just transfer it downward and you roll. So that was what I did. Yes, that was what I did. So I'm trying to extend this because my ease allowance was not enough. So I'm just trying to add more to the ease allowance at that area. So for this bubble, I'm cutting both the front and the back together. So I'm just cutting once. Then for this, that's the front and the back together. So the next thing is to do the neck opening. So for the back neck, I'll be using 2 inches by 3 inches. I'll be using 2 by 3 inches. So I'll first cut that on both the front and the back. So the next thing to do is to remove one of these, so which will serve as the back. You remove one of these, then the remaining one will be for the front. So for the front, I'll be measuring 3 inches like this. You can just use 3.5 or 4. So you first do a round neckline, then you make an opening at the middle part. So the next thing I will do is to open this part. So for the opening, depending on how deep you want it, so for me, I'm using 3.5, but I increase it to 4. So I'll be using 4 for the opening. So you have to open this part so that your head can enter into the gown. You know the necklines, they are small. So the next thing to do again is to cut your facing. So I'll be cutting the facing for the front and for the back. Just a small facing, that's what I'll be using. This is for the back. And that's the facing I'll be cutting. So to locate the pocket, what I usually do is to measure my half length. So I'll measure my half length at this point, and I'll roll it towards the side. Then after rolling it, I'll measure my sleeve, my pocket opening. So I'll be using 7.5 for the pocket opening. So what I'll do is just to notch the point. So I'll notch the other point. So when I'm sewing, I know I will skip this point. So this is my pocket, and for the kind of pocket I usually do, I just cut a square a rectangle shaped po- fabric like this. So it is 10 inches by 7 and it is on fold for each one. So I have two here. So that means it's folded into four like this. And I'll just slant this. After slanting, I'll measure if it is up to my shoulder opening. I will leave it, but if it is not up to, I'll just roll it downward. Then for this, I'll be sewing by the side. That's why it's like 8.5 inches. So I'll cut this out also. So after cutting this out, I'll just go ahead and join the sides to close up the pockets. Then I'll be fixing the pockets. So let's start sewing. So for the sewing, we'll start from the front. Then I'll go ahead and fix this facing to the front. After fixing the facing and joining it by the shoulder, this is what I have. So I'll go ahead and turn up my sleeve opening at this point. So I'll close it up, then I'll close this side too, then I'll leave my pocket opening because you know we are fixing the pocket. So after that, this is the pocket opening. So how to fix this pocket is just to place this pocket like this, then you pin, so I'll just pin this like this, then I'll be joining. You know my sewing allowance is 1 inch, but the pocket I'll be joining is with half inch, so you make the pocket half inch shorter than your sewing allowance, then you just sew like that. So you sew to the end, then you turn it over, then you sew the other side too, the same way. So after sewing, this is what you will have. So the line on the fabric will rhyme with the previous line you've made, and this is what it will look like. So after ironing, this is what I have. So our gown is ready. I've also went ahead to hem the lower part. I went ahead to hem the lower part. So our gown is ready. It is now time to start fixing the joggers rope on it. As you can see the pocket, you have to iron it so that it can turn out well. So this is the joggers rope. Like I said, this joggers rope is about 12 yards. I use about 12 yards. So what I do is to just make the design on the bubu. Another way to do this is to roll the lines on the bubu with a chalk. Then you start tracing with this rope, which I did, but I did not like the method. I prefer this method. Just place your rope on it, like the designs you want. Just start placing on it. So the first thing to do is just to seal this edge. I'll be sealing this edge. So I'll be using my lighter to just seal this edge. I'll be using my lighter to seal this edge, so that will be my starting point. So this is my candle gum. If you have the gum glue, you can just use it, but my gum glue is faulty at the moment, so I'll just be putting this candle gum on a candle just to melt it a little bit. Then I'll be transferring the gum on this part, then I'll be sticking it on it. Make sure you do it carefully and neatly so that your clothes doesn't get stained. So just go ahead and keep doing this. So keep watching to see the second method I used. So after I was done, this was the first one I used, and this was about 5 yards of joggers rope, and it was not enough at all. It wasn't enough, so I have to get more. So now let's start fixing the other one. So I started fixing this. So for the second method I mentioned, so I drew the line on the bubu like this. Then I want to start tracing the lines with this rope, but it wasn't working. It wasn't working for me because I was not even following the line, and the chalk was stained on the clothes. So I prefer this first method. So I will recommend this first method. Just place your bias rope on it, then you just start making the lines and the designs you want on it. So this was what the dress looked like after I was done. This is what it looks like. So thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Thank you, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.